This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Whether you love true crime or comedy, celebrity interviews or news, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue. And guess what? Now you can call them on your auto insurance too with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. It works just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you coverage options that fit your budget. Get your quote today at Progressive.com to join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Worried about letting someone else pick out the perfect avocado for your perfect impress them on the third date guacamole? Well, good thing Instacart shoppers are as picky as you are. They find ripe avocados like it's their guac on the line. They are milk expiration date detectives. They bag eggs like the 12 precious pieces of cargo they are. So let Instacart shoppers overthink your groceries so that you can overthink what you'll wear on that third date. Download the Instacart app to get free delivery on your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 per order. Additional terms apply.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With All Trails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with All Trails.
It's time to get in the zone. Time to get in the zone with the 49ers Web Zone. This is the No Huddle Podcast with Al and Brian.
49ers Web Zone, No Huddle Podcast, part of the Odyssey Network. I'm Al. He's Brian. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Like, subscribe. Brian, it's good to have you back, dude. A week. I'm flying solo.
I know. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. The end of the school year is a little crazy for me. And so it officially ends this week. Graduation is Wednesday. And and then I'm free for the summer. So those of you that listen and are like, oh, finally, it's just Al, man, the summer's going to be rough for you.
He's back. And dude, we're big for us. We're through May. We just got to get through June. And then I kind of feel, the beginning of July is slow, but then it's real football coming up soon. We could see it. It's off in the distance, but we can start to see it right now. Big news today, though, NFL wise, Justin Jefferson signs, huge deal, resets the wide receiver market. 4 years, $140 million, 35 a year, 110 million guaranteed. These numbers are just absurd right now. I feel like CeeDee Lamb is just bonkers. I feel like CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase are going to sign very quickly, probably similar numbers in and around there. But what does this mean for Brandon Aiyuk?
Yeah,
I don't think it means much of anything. Because my opinion of it is this. Brandon Aiyuk's market was set when Jalen Waddle signed. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So Aiyuk, these other guys are alpha dogs, right? And Aiyuk, you could argue, is the number one receiver on the Niners. But the Niners have they have 4 guys who get a lot of targets. So someone sent me this today. It was like 49er data, something on Twitter. But it was really interesting. So total targets, including the postseason, 125 for Aiyuk, 111 for Debo, 108 for McCaffrey, 103 for Kittle. And those are just receiving targets. So it's pretty balanced, right? So Aiyuk may be the number one receiver for argument's sake with the Niners, but he doesn't really get alpha dog type looks, right? He doesn't get those kind of targets. So he's more in the Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. And even though those guys are number 2s, that's how he's used usage-wise. So if you look at Jalen Waddle's numbers the last 2 years, okay, Waddle played 31 games. He had 221 targets, 147 receptions, 2,370 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Aiyuk played 33 games, 219 targets, 153 receptions, 2,357 yards, and 15 touchdowns. Similar production. Waddle signs a 3-year, $84.75 million deal that I think was about $76 million in guarantees. Aiyuk's going to come in right there. And if he doesn't, if he thinks he's worth more, he's not. If the Niners thinks he's worth less, he's not. That's about where he should be. If you want to give him a little bit more than Waddle got, just because that tends to be how it works, great. But I feel like it's going to fall in around that $28 million a year mark, and that gets it done.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Kind of the same, to me, the same tier in terms of what you could or should expect with a Brandon Aiyuk contract. Justin Jefferson's an outlier, right? He resets not only the wide receiver market, he resets the non-quarterback market, right? His deal surpasses the one that Nick Bosa got last year, and that he is now the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. It's a really unique it's a really unique situation because you look at the draft this past NFL draft and the number of wide receivers that went in the first 2 rounds. And it certainly feels like teams are looking at the wide receiver market and going, we don't want to play in that end of the pool. Like, we don't want to tie ourselves to the wide receiver position. And I get it. And I understand that. And if you look at the Amon-Ra St. Brown contract, or you look at the Jalen Waddle contract, and you compare that to the Deebo Samuel contract, with the caveat that the cap has gone up since Deebo Samuel signed his deal, those deals are right in line with what Deebo Samuel got when the cap was what it was when he signed his deal. And so I don't feel like the 49ers are doing something crazy if they sign Brandon Aiyuk to a deal that averages $30 million per year, with whatever they figure their guarantees are going to be. Justin Jefferson's contract should have zero effect on what Brandon Aiyuk should expect and what the 49ers should pay Brandon Aiyuk, because again, it's an outlier. And I don't even know that Jamar Chase is going to get a deal like that. Like, Justin Jefferson is by far and away the best wide receiver in the NFL, period, full stop. I don't even think CeeDee Lamb should expect what Justin Jefferson got, right? And if you look at their numbers, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb has 2 more touchdowns than Justin Jefferson does, but Justin Jefferson leads CeeDee Lamb in the 2 most important categories, which is receiving yards and yards per reception. That's really all that matters when you look at wide receiver production. And so, again, I don't feel like Jefferson's deal should have any effect on Aiyuk's deal. What I do think, though, is that the 49ers are starting to get bit in the ass a little bit by the way that they handle their extensions, which is to wait damn near as long as possible. I don't understand why. I think you look at the Eagles and you look at what they did with Devontae Smith, and then also what they did with AJ Brown. And you're talking about being proactive, and you're talking about beating the market, right? Because with all of these signings, the number for Brandon Aiyuk continues to go up. And so I just don't understand the waiting game. Like, I get it for guys like George Kittle, which is a tight end, or Fred Warner, which is an off-ball linebacker. Like, those markets are weird, and they're not the same as what we're now seeing with the wide receiver market, the quarterback market, things like that, where each successive deal gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just costs you more and more and more money. And so I don't understand why they wait so long. Albert Breer came out with an article the other day that said that they've basically waited too long now to do a Brandon Aiyuk extension. My fear is that at this point, they're like, we're just going to make him play on the 5th-year option. And what after that? I don't know. And if you're Brandon Aiyuk,
he'll hold out if they do that.
Sure. And I mean, he won't hold out into the season because that's going to cost him service time and money, but he's going to hold out during camp. And now all of a sudden, the excitement that you have about Brock Purdy getting a full off season because he didn't last year now gets hampered by the fact that his favorite target isn't there for him. And, I've seen people argue, on Twitter, like, hey, I want what's best for the 49ers, and $30 million a year for Brandon Aiyuk is not what's best. I disagree because Brandon Aiyuk is young, he's ascending, and he's your quarterback's favorite target. Like, you have to bring that guy back. You have to give him what he wants. He is going to be the focal point of your offense after this upcoming season because Deebo Samuel is gone. I am convinced of that. The Deebo Samuel's last year with San Francisco is this year.
Unless Aiyuk somehow is not on the team this year and they maybe decide to stick with Deebo for a couple more years.
Which to me is an absolute disaster of a choice. That is a disaster of a choice if that's the choice that they make. And I thought it was interesting. Mike Lombardi, right? Who take what Mike Lombardi says with a grain of salt. Came out recently. It wasn't with an article, but on a podcast, and said that the 49ers had a deal in place with the Steelers on draft night for Brandon Aiyuk or Deebo Samuel, and it ended up falling through because the 49ers ended up wanting more than what the Steelers were willing to offer. Now, normally I would say, okay, like I get it. Like, okay, Mike Lombardi, not super reliable. Mike Lombardi's son is a part of the staff of the 49ers. Mick Lombardi is his son. He's a part of the staff of the 49ers. I imagine that there's a fair amount of intel there. And it tells me that they already know that it's one or the other. And like I said, to me, Brandon Aiyuk is the obvious choice. And it's obvious after what happened in the Super Bowl to me. And it's obvious after what we've seen with Deebo Samuel and his inability to stay on the field. So again, I don't think it's a disaster if they sign him to 30 years APY. And I don't think it's I don't think that's a crazy number for Brandon Aiyuk. I think he's earned it. I think Brandon Aiyuk is easily a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. And I also think that the usage argument kind of goes out the window when you think about what this offense looked like last year with the passing offense. And you have to assume that it's going to continue to evolve and start to be the focal point because you now have a quarterback that you trust. So now that you have a quarterback that you trust, don't get rid of the guy that he loves to throw the ball to. It just seems counterintuitive to me.
Well, is it better for the 49ers? Well, I'll put it to you this way. What if they can't re-sign Ward and Greenlaw and Lenore, right? So what if, because the Cowboys, why are they getting rid of Prescott? Mainly, well, there's issues there with how far can they get him, but Prescott's still a top 10 to 12 quarterback in the league. One of the reasons why it looks like anyway, this could be his last year with Dallas is because they have to sign Lamb and Parsons, who are going to cost similar to what Nick Bosa and Brandon Aiyuk, probably a little bit more for both of them.
Lamb will cost more.
The big thing is, they can't pay those three guys. So can the 49ers pay Purdy $50 million a year and Bosa $34 million a year and Aiyuk $30 million a year and still keep a good team around them? I don't know if they can. So, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. So let's say if signing Brandon Aiyuk means you don't extend Ward, who was maybe a top 5 corner in the league last year. You don't extend Lenore, who is ascending and can play inside outside. You don't extend what you hope to be a healthy Greenlaw, who's a top 10 linebacker in the league. And now your defenses are kind of gone to shit. And you have to hope that some of these guys you draft can come in, or you have to, look at the budget to fit this guy in and that guy in. So that's a way to look at it too. When they did draft 2 receivers, you have to see how they turn out. But again, just playing devil's advocate for it. Is it best for the 49ers? That remains to be seen. Because all of a sudden, if you're top heavy with those 3 guys, and then you lose some of these other pieces that have helped you be so successful because you're so deep, it's a good problem to have all these guys to pay. So does it make more sense to say, all right, listen, like this is Kyle, Kyle trusts his system. So Kyle may say, all right, I can put in this guy, and this guy, and still get similar production. We're a run first team. I would rather have these 4 pieces than this wide receiver. And I'm not saying they're going to do that. I know they want to keep Aiyuk, but are they better with him or without him? Depends on who else is there once they re-sign him.
Sure. And I always, the idea that they're a run first team, like I get it. They are. I'm not arguing that they aren't. But my question has always been, are they a run first team because Kyle Shanahan hasn't had a quarterback that he's trusted since he's been with San Francisco? Or are they a run first team because that's what Kyle Shanahan wants to be? And then I think about the Atlanta Falcons. Yep, and you look at that team, you're like, that was not a run first team. That was a team that had
what?
I would say that was a team that had a quarterback that he trusted and a stable of wide receivers that were friggin' incredible. And they threw the ball all over the yard. And you look at what they have done in the draft when they draft Ricky Pearsall. They draft Jacob Cowing. They have Brandon Aiyuk. They have Deebo Samuel probably for one more year, right? They've got George Kittle probably for one more year. It just feels like they're moving towards maybe not a pass first team, but a heavier pass team than they have been since Kyle Shanahan has been here, because he trusts Brock Purdy. And so, we aren't going to know that until we see what this season looks like and moving forward. But I still wonder if they are a run first team because that's what he wants, or they're a run first team because up until now, he just hasn't trusted the guy that he's had under center.
Well, with the Falcons, and I'm looking this up because they were actually in passing attempts in 2016, and Ryan had an unbelievable year, but I'm trying to find where they are now, passing attempts. I'm pretty sure they were near the bottom of the league in attempts for passing. And I don't know, I don't remember every single Falcons game that year. So they were 26th in the league in attempts that year with 537. So I don't know, were they just up by a lot and running at the end? I don't remember. I don't remember watching anything with that. But Kyle still likes to run the ball. And he did have an alpha there in Julio Jones, and he did have a quarterback that he trusts, and he's moving towards a quarterback that he trusts now. And I agree with you. I do think they're going to throw more. And it's nuts to me to break up any of this core while you still have a window with them. You should do everything you can to get it done. And I don't think best case scenario for them business-wise, again, is you playing a fifth-year option. But Aiyuk will hold out, and then all the reasons you said. They don't have him in training camp. Purdy isn't working with him. He comes in the season, he's going to have a slow start. Everybody does when they hold out if he doesn't pull a hamstring or something. So you risk all those things with that. So, but we'll see, man. Hopefully it's done soon. I'd love to be talking about an extension, because if not, there's going to be a lot of what if talks with him until they figure it out.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's here to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 15% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. And Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast.
You know how to book flights and hotels. All you're missing is a tool to plan the travel experiences you'll have once you arrive. That's why you need Viator. Book guided tours, activities, excursions, and more in one place to make your trip truly unforgettable. Viator has over 300,000 travel experiences to choose from. Everything from simple tours to extreme adventures and all the niche, interesting stuff in between. So you can plan something that everyone you're traveling with will enjoy. Real traveler reviews give the inside scoop from the people who've already been on the experiences you're considering, so you can plan with confidence. Free cancellation helps you plan for the unexpected, and 24/7 customer support means you can travel worry-free. Download the Viator app now and use code Viator10 for 10% off your first booking in the app. Find travel experiences for you. Do more with Viator.
While you were gone last week, I did a show, and I had seen a PFF ranking of quarterbacks, and they had Purdy ranked 13th. And I wasn't so upset or going crazy about where he was ranked, but they had certain tiers. And the tier he was in the melting pot tier. He wasn't in the playoff quarterback tier. And that was insane to me, because how do you with it, right? It's just like it doesn't make any sense. So now Chris Sims does his rankings every single season, where he does, puts out on Twitter, he does a quarterback every day. He has Purdy at 17. And I was listening to what he was saying. the good things he said about him were he's a system quarterback with system plus. He has the ability to handle Shanahan's offense and execute it. He said light years better than Jimmy Garoppolo did. And I'm paraphrasing what he said here. Mm-hmm. He said Purdy's a damn good athlete. He has a great feel and anticipation, and he can make high-level plays very quickly. He's a very quick decision maker, which in Kyle Shanahan's offense, is great. He said sometimes he's watching film and the ball's already out to where it should go. And he's like, wow, how'd he dissect that fast? So why is he 17? Well, according to Sims, he said his game gets ugly. If the game gets ugly, so if they're playing from behind, you don't see consistent play from Purdy. Well, that's kind of the Shanahan offense altogether.
Right.
That's a different conversation. He said when Kyle's tricks get taken away, he can get out of rhythm, and he has trouble making some throws with pressure on him. He said there's more wow decisions than wow throws. So he's got a good mind, but his throws don't always wow you, is what he's saying. He said he gets the benefit of the doubt because he'll miss a throw. I don't remember Purdy missing a ton of throws where I'm like, oh my God, this guy's all over the place. But he said he'll miss a throw, but then the next play, a guy's even more wide open than the one that he missed, and they get 40 yards and nobody says anything because they ended up getting first down. Whereas on a worse team, they may have to punt and those plays stick out. And he was nitpicky about his motion. He said he's got a very long motion, which I guess he does have a long motion. And he said he tries to play big, but he's not big. And again, he doesn't make throws when people get around him. And he brought up that motion again. He put him at 17. And one of the people he had over him that I saw today was Baker Mayfield, which I just think is, again, you're losing credibility. Right. You're just losing credibility when you say something like that. So I'll let you react to that. But then I thought what we could do is, I've been talking for last 2 weeks about like these people's tiers. Let's do our own tiers. Yeah. And after we do our tiers, let's rank up to Purdy and, let's put our money where our mouth is and see where we think he is. Yeah. But I'll let you react to what Sim says first.
Yeah. Like you said, I don't disagree with a lot of what he said, but then like the fact that he has Baker Mayfield over Brock Purdy, just immediately you lose credibility because there isn't anything that Baker Mayfield has done in this league that has been anywhere near as impressive as what Purdy did last season specifically. Baker Mayfield has never been in the MVP conversation. Baker Mayfield has never led his team to a conference championship game. Brock Purdy has done it twice. And, some of that stuff is team related, and I understand that. But at the same time, you look at what this offense looked like with Brock Purdy last year for a full season versus what this offense has ever looked like with Jimmy Garoppolo with the same weapons. And you realize, underlying numbers aside, Brock Purdy operates this offense at a significantly higher level. And I really bristle when people talk about, well, he's just a product of his, the playmakers. Doesn't every team try and surround their quarterback with playmakers? Like, isn't that the whole point? Isn't that how you build a football team? You surround your quarterback with playmakers. Like, what quarterback has ever succeeded with dog shit players around him? Like, it's just ridiculous to me. And what quarterbacks have succeeded without a great offensive mind helping them, with scheme and things of that nature. It's just a ridiculous argument. And it's a way to diminish what somebody is doing because that person is not prototypically what you would look for at the quarterback position. And I think ultimately that is 100% what always knocks Purdy down when analysts do things like rank quarterbacks, tiers, whatever. And it's like, well, he doesn't fit what we think a quarterback should look like. Well, Drew Brees never fit what a quarterback should look like. He was one of the better quarterbacks in NFL history. Joe Montana didn't fit what quarterbacks look like. He was arguably the best quarterback in NFL history. Steve Young, right? Like, you look at some of these players, there are definitely prototypes out there. Dan Marino, John Elway, Peyton Manning. Even though Peyton Manning was slow, he was still a big dude with a big arm.
Huge guy.
And until the neck injury. there are definitely prototypes out there, but even Tom Brady didn't fit that prototype. While he was tall, he didn't have a massive arm, but it got better as he played in the league more. And so again, I'm tired of national analysts trying to diminish what Brock Purdy has done. And to me, it just doesn't matter anymore. I don't care. I don't care that Chris Sims has ranked him 17, because I know what he brings to my team. And I have confidence going into next season that my team is going to be good because Brock Purdy is the quarterback. And so I understand this need that football consumers have with like ranking players and ranking quarterbacks and ranking wide receivers. And it's like, you know what, does he do what your offensive play designer wants him to do? Yes. Does he do it at a high level? Yes. Does he get the ball in the hands of his playmakers? Yes. Is that what the quarterback is supposed to do? Yes. He does all the things. He checks all the boxes. And so for me, that's all I care about. If he comes out next year and he falls flat on his face, then we start to look at this conversation more, right?
Right.
I just don't anticipate that happening. I just don't. I don't think there's anything to his game that cannot continue to translate year over year and or improve year over year. He's again a full year removed from surgery. He's had a full offseason to not only work on his body, but work on his game. And I think he's going to come into training camp, and I think you're going to see some strides, because that's the type of player that he has shown himself to be. And so, look, I feel like at this point, you know, Kyle's probably already gone to the, tattoo laser removal place and got that tattoo removed from his calf, because Sims just feels like, I don't know. It just feels it still feels like sour grapes over the Mac Jones thing. It just honestly does. Like, it's felt like that since they drafted Trey Lance and made pretty much everybody look like an idiot.
And I think too, they know that people are going to talk about it because there's so many Niners fans.
Also true.
Niners are hot button. I mean, we are, so I guess it's working.
We're suckers.
But, dude, I will maintain this forever, that if this internet age with the Steven Ruizes and everything, if you transplanted that to the 80s or moved those guys up here or whatever, you would have these rankings that would be like Joe Montana. He's the 8th best quarterback in the league. He doesn't have the physical ability of an Elway or a Cunningham or Marino's arm, and he's got Bill Walsh.
He's got Bill Walsh and Jerry Rice and Roger Craig.
100%. Yep. He's not. He's got Dwight Clark. He's got all these weapons. Yep. He's not the greatest quarterback. I just know it would have been that way.
Okay, picture this. It's Friday afternoon when a thought hits you. I can spend another weekend doing the same old whatever, or I can hop into my all-new Hyundai Santa Fe and hit the road. With available H-Track all-wheel drive and 3-row seating, my whole family can head deep into the wild. Conquer the weekend in the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. Hyundai, there's joy in every journey.
Spring is here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
Jewelry isn't a gift you give just once. It's a way to remind your loved one of a beautiful moment every time they see it. Blue Nile can help you find the gift that says how you feel and says it beautifully, with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com to find the perfect jewelry gift for any occasion. BlueNile.com.
We've been knocking these guys for 2 weeks now. Let's put our money where our mouth is. And when I do these rankings, at least for me, Brian, playoffs matter.
Yeah.
Playoffs matter.
Yes.
Joe Montana is Joe Montana, and Tom Brady is Tom Brady because of the playoffs. They had great regular seasons, but those guys are regarded as 1 and 2 because they won in the playoffs, right? I mean, you can't argue that. So these are the tiers I came up with, and tell me if you want to add anything or you like these or not. But tier 1 is Mahomes because he's just going to be there. Then elite, franchise, purgatory, replacement level, and TBD. We don't know.
Okay.
Is that fair enough, or do you want to?
Yeah, I like it.
That's fair enough.
No,
right.
I like it.
So I like to go through. Just start at the AFC East because then we do the Niners last. We just go from division to division all the way through. So Josh Allen.
Elite.
Agree. Tua. That's a bit of a tough one.
You know what I'm going to do with Tua is I'm going to give me the tiers one more time.
So Mahomes, elite, franchise, purgatory, replacement level, or TBD?
See, I think Tua's purgatory. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback for multiple reasons. One being health, and then two being you've just seen this team collapse year after year in the second half of the season. And that's either A, because Tua got hurt, or B, because Tua stopped playing well. And so they are in a really, really tough spot because they are good. They are in the Sean McVay, Jared Goff, or Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Garoppolo situation with Mike McDaniel and Tua, where Mike McDaniel needs his Matthew Stafford or needs his Brock Purdy. But I just get a sinking suspicion that they're going to pay Tua, and it's going to end up costing him his job.
Yeah, once Waddle and Tyreek are not there, or not the same guys, it could be a very different offense. All right, Aaron Rodgers is an interesting one for the Jets because obviously he would have been elite at one point. You could have even argued he was Mahomesian at his top. I'm going to say at 40 years old, coming off of his injury, he didn't have a great year 2 years ago, but I would still put him in the franchise category because I still think you're going into next year like, yeah, this guy can win us a couple playoff games if he's healthy.
Well, and you have to put him in the franchise because they've literally built the franchise around him. Everything that they've done for Q Aaron. So,
and he's still Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we may even be knocking him I guess we'll see, but we may even be knocking him, putting him just in the franchise thing. But for right now, coming off of the injury at 40 years old, I'm betting there's a step back to just being a really, 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 really good quarterback as opposed to superhuman that he was sometimes.
Yeah.
Patriots. I mean, we can say May or Brissett. Brissett, I think, is replacement level, and May is TBD.
Yes.
So either way.
Correct. Yeah. I think Brissett, Brissett is 100% replacement level. But I think if you were tiering, I think he is the top of replacement level. I think he's going to win them games. And then Drake May, obviously you can't. I really bristle at the people that rank like rookie quarterbacks coming into the NFL higher than any other quarterback that has played, a season's worth of games. Because it's like, great. Yeah, they were great in college. I'm not bemoaning that fact, but you got a lot to prove in this league. And there's been a lot of dudes that were great in college that absolutely flamed out in the NFL. So for you to put Caleb Williams in like the top 15, like get out of here. Like, no, I'm not putting him in the top 15 because he has done nothing in the league. So sorry.
No clue until they step on the field. All right. AFC North got some players in here. Lamar.
Lamar's tough.
The playoffs are going to knock him down to, franchise. It would knock it down to you're teetering between elite and franchise, but I think he's at the bottom end of the elite. He's won a couple MVPs. Manning, the book is yet to be written. Manning had some issues early in his career too with the playoffs. He's just been too good to not say he's elite, even though again, 3 years from now, if we have the same issues, then maybe you got to be like, all right, this guy just can't win big games.
Yeah, I mean, I would put him at either the top of franchise or, like you said, the bottom of elite. But again, the playoffs matter, and it's hard to knock somebody that's won 2 MVPs. So there is that for him. But it will be interesting to see what year 2 in Todd Monken's offense looks like, and see if they can't get over the hump, especially with Derrick Henry there now.
Deshaun Watson, he's replacement level for me.
Yeah, he's a nobody to me.
I mean, they probably played better with Brissett last year than they did with him. So
not probably, they absolutely did. They absolutely did. He was dog shit last year.
Yeah,
he was
until
terrible.
He's proves me otherwise. He's replacement level. Pittsburgh, to me, just a couple of replacement level dudes.
Yes. Until Justin Fields proves that he can play from the pocket with consistency, he's replacement level, even though he's electric with the ball in his hands as a runner.
Mm-hmm.
And then Russell, hustle and bustle, has just been an abject disaster the last 2 years. So again, until he can prove that those 2 years were a fluke, you're replacement level for me. And each of them is getting paid replacement level money. So,
and whatever you think of Fields personally, anyone listening to this or watching this, the NFL told you what they think of him when he was available. They think he's a replacement level quarterback because nobody went out of their way to acquire him, which is crazy if you think he's a starting quarterback or a franchise guy. Nobody did. So Burrow, I don't have to talk about that. He's elite.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud.
Franchise.
Yeah, franchise with the arrow pointed up. He's already won a playoff game. He already has won a division. I can't wait to see what his career is going to look like.
Yeah, I love CJ Stroud. He's probably outside of Brock Purdy, because he's my quarterback, he might be my favorite quarterback in the NFL right now. I just love him as a player. I love him as a personality. I love a lot of there was a lot. I feel like he was very visible this offseason and just very intelligent in the way that he analyzes football, talks about football.
Mm-hmm.
You just know that you can tell that the dude is an elite mind when it comes to playing the quarterback position. And I just love the back and forth this offseason with him and Micah Parsons. It was just, I just love the guy. Yeah. But you can't put someone in the elite category after one season, because that's just, you got to do it more than once. But I anticipate him doing it.
The next two guys, we don't know. I love the future of Anthony Richardson. I love him with Shane Steichen. I love what that Colts offense can do with all those weapons, but we have no idea what he played.
That's a TBD quarters. To me. He's basically
total
a rookie.
TBD. Yeah, total TBD. And also Will Levis. We got a glimpse, but no idea how to rank him or where to put him. It's not fair to pass judgment on him at all right now. But the next one in the AFC South is pretty interesting to me. And it's somebody that people are starting to get split on, and that's Trevor Lawrence in terms of what he is and how he's played. A lot of people will tell you he deserved better last year. A lot of people will tell you when things got a little crazy around him, his feet sped up and his processing sped up, and he didn't play as well. I'm not ready to call him purgatory at all.
Right.
He's won a playoff game. I will still put him in the franchise.
Bottom of the franchise tier to me.
100%. 100% Lawrence in the bottom of the franchise. With a big TBD by that too. Let's see what happens over the next couple of years, but
the talent is undeniable. The talent is undeniable, but
is it going to translate?
To me, the question marks are the intangibles, the leadership, the processing, the ability to rise above kind of the fray when things are going wrong, like they did last year in Jacksonville. But I also think that he got hosed by a very awful offensive game planning. And I really hope that Doug Peterson takes back the reins from, I can't remember the guy's name because he was awful, but something needs to change there. It'll be interesting to see if it does.
We'll see. All the talent in the world. All right. Mahomes goes in the Mahomes category. That son of a bitch. Let's put him there. Dude's got to stop winning. All right. Raiders. It's not fair to say anything against Aiden O'Connell because he was a rookie. He looks like he's a replacement level-ish type quarterback, but again, I don't want to. If we're not going to judge rookies, we don't really know with him. Minshew's a replacement level guy.
Yes, but Minshew, I love Gardner Minshew. I've loved Gardner Minshew for a long time. I wrote an article on the Web Zone back in 2021 before they even drafted Trey Lance, saying that the 49ers should trade for Gardner Minshew as a replacement for Jimmy Garoppolo. I love Minshew. I love his game. I think if he were in a situation like San Francisco where he is surrounded by talent, I think he would rise to the occasion. To me, like the top of the replacement level quarterbacks is Jacoby Brissett, and then right underneath him is Gardner Minshew.
I'll buy that. All right, where are we here? Broncos. I mean, if you want to say Bo Nix is your starter, it's TBD. If it's Jared Stidham, it's replacement level. It's pretty bad there right now.
Yeah.
All right, and then the Chargers. Another interesting one for me.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert.
Franchise.
The nerds love him.
Franchise.
The nerds love him. Agree that he is franchise. Similar to Lawrence, he's at some point 30-32 as a starter. He finished 9th in MVP voting once. The only time he's been in the top 10 for MVP. They lost the only playoff game he was in. I know he
the
had
nerds love him. That's
the nerds.
That really is what it is. That's really what it is.
But
the nerds love him.
So talented. You look at the guy and you're like, how does anybody stop this guy? But it hasn't translated yet to me. I think he's got a lot to prove. I think he's starting to get polarizing. Still, when you see these quarterback rankings, everybody's got him around 5, 6. I don't know what he's done. He hasn't accomplished much. I know he's physically phenomenal. He's got Harbaugh there now. Greg Roman's run first guy, but we'll see what that translates to. But he's definitely a franchise quarterback.
100%. And I think with Harbaugh there is when he starts to move up. I think that he's got a good coach there now. I think that he's got the offensive skill positions around him are awful, and this season's going to be rough because of that. But he's definitely got the right coach there to get the most out of him. If Jim Harbaugh could turn Alex Smith into a top 15 quarterback, then what is he going to do with a guy like Justin Herbert and the tools that he has?
It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, going over to the NFC, and we're going to have less good quarterbacks here than we did in the AFC, but
quite a few.
Dak Prescott. So Dak, when we talk about that playoff thing, Dak has not done it in the playoffs. He has won a couple playoff games, won 2 of them, but it has been a total disaster. It's hard for me to say that he's anything other than a franchise quarterback, because if he does go on the market next year, somebody else has paid him $50-something million. He's was top 5 in MVP this year. He's definitely not elite. He's sort of teetering on Kirk Cousins land a little bit, but they win a lot of games. The book's not written. I still have to put him as a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and you get no argument from me. He is going to get paid if he makes it to free agency. I still have my forecast that he ends up with Sean McVay in LA, but we'll see.
Jalen Hurts.
After the 2022 season, I would have easily, without question, said franchise. After last season, it's hard. It's not purgatory because I've seen him do it, but it's bottom of the franchise tier for me.
I think he was hurt last year, and I think that affected some things. Also, what we saw him do in the Super Bowl, other than that one fumble, he put him on his back. He was phenomenal. So he came really maybe within one play, and then a holding call or whatever the hell the officials call it at the end of that game. If he gets the ball back, who knows? So he almost did it. He came that close. So for me, 1 year like that, and then last year there were some questions, but I still think, he's absolutely in the franchise thing. This year will tell us a little bit more either way, but to me, I have to absolutely solidify him in the franchise quarterback.
Yeah, I can't put him in purgatory at all.
Daniel Jones, I don't even think he's purgatory. I think he's replacement level.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Okay. Because I know some Giants fans who feel differently, but that's replacement level to me. Jaden Daniels, we have no idea.
Right.
TBD. All right. Jared Goff. A lot of people like to knock Jared Goff. Here's what I'm going to say against Jared Goff. When you put a good team around him, and you got to have a good team to win sometimes, Brian, right? You got to have pieces around you.
All the time.
He's Well, not according to his quarterback critics, no, because every time you say something good about Brock Purdy, you have to follow it up by even though he has talent around him. Right. So Jared Goff, even though he has talent around him, been to 2 NFC championship games, been to a Super Bowl. How is he not a franchise guy? He is to me.
Well, and he's getting paid like a franchise guy. So yeah. But again, it's that bottom of the franchise tier where there's just so much about his game that scares me. Like if I was a Lions fan, that would just scare me. Like,
right. He's a statue back there.
He's a statue, and
turns the ball over.
When things break down, it's over for him. And we saw that in the second half of the game against the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, where the 49ers finally started getting some pressure on him, and he just pissed down his leg. So that scares me. But like you said, when things are going right, he's a super talented, great arm, great deep ball, a decent processor, as long as, again, the pocket is clean. Once the pocket gets muddy, things fall apart pretty quickly for him.
Jordan Love, to me, still, we don't know. Again, we'll see. He wasn't great at the beginning of the season. He was terrific at the end of the season. Played a terrific playoff game, and then half a good playoff game against the Niners. But that arrow is pointed up, and I think Green Bay feels pretty good that he's their franchise guy.
Yeah, and I would agree. We're talking, again, bottom of the franchise tier, but the arrow firmly pointed up.
All right, Minnesota, McCarthy's a TBD.
What about Sam Darnold?
Total replacement level quarterback. Watch, I say that and he'll throw 40 touchdowns this year, but no, total replacement level for Darnold. Yeah. Caleb Williams, we just said TBD. We have no idea. Can't judge him. These next two are the definition of purgatory for me, and I'm going to lump them together a little bit. One, their career has been revived. The other, their career is on the downswing. But you got to pay them both a lot of money. You're never winning anything. Mm-hmm. Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Derek Carr is the definition of purgatory. 100%.
Yep. Just what are they paying? However many millions, and you're going to go 7 and 10.
Yep.
And same thing with Baker. I know it's a nice story. I know he played better, but I don't see anybody really.
I'm terrified for Baker with Dave Canales not being there this year. Right?
It's going to be a different
year. Moved on to Carolina, and I think we're going to see a different Baker Mayfield than we saw last year.
I still think Bryce Young has to be TBD. I just don't think we saw it. It didn't look good
at all.
But he's got. We just said what Dave Canales did for Mayfield. Let's see.
Sure, that's a good point.
Now.
That's a good point.
Let's give him TBD for now.
Yep.
Kirk Cousins, is he purgatory? Is he franchise, or is he just Kirk Cousins?
To me, we forgot a tier, and it's the Kirk Cousins tier. There's the Mahomes tier and the Kirk Cousins tier, and to me, the Kirk Cousins tier is firmly between purgatory and franchise.
All right, we're going to give Cousins his own. Cousins always deserves. He deserves his own section in Coles all the time.
100%.
All right, Kyler Murray.
There are people that love Kyler Murray. I've never seen it.
Kind of feels like they're in purgatory with him, doesn't it? Maybe the high end.
They're paying him a ton of money. I've never seen it with him. I really haven't. I just haven't seen it. And
flashes.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Not somebody that I'm saying this is absolutely our franchise guy. We're going to win 10, 12 games with him every year. He hasn't shown me that.
And here's the thing, like when I think franchise, right? I think if this player became available, would I want my team to pursue them outside of how I feel about Brock Purdy, right? Like just let's pretend Brock Purdy, has a career-ending injury, and you start looking at, all right, this quarterback is available. If Kyler Murray was available, I wouldn't be like, yeah, I think the Niners should go get him, because I don't think that. So I don't think you can be a franchise quarterback if I wouldn't want my team to trade for you.
Agree. Geno Smith, again, purgatory with me. I don't see. Seattle has a ton of weapons. I feel like they're going to be stuck in a good year's 10-ish wins, and a bad year, you're 7 and 10 or whatever it is. you're just kind of stuck in that purgatory, right? You're probably never going to be awful, but I'm never afraid of a team with Geno Smith at quarterback.
Agreed.
All right, so Geno goes to purgatory. Matthew Stafford, certainly a franchise quarterback.
Yes. The biggest thing with him is just age and health.
Yeah. And he's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not, if you want to put him high end franchise, that's fine. But I think he's solely in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And then Purdy, who to me is also very comfortably in the franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
So we have actually more than I thought we were going to have. We have 15 quarterbacks that we've ranked from Mahomes down to franchise. And we got to find where Purdy fits in there.
So we have a top 15. We have a top 15.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So I'll go through them. So I will say with Purdy, he's got a top 4 MVP finish. He's FedEx Air Player of the Year. He's won 4 playoff games. He's been to 2 NFC title games in the Super Bowl. That's going to weigh a lot in what I'm talking, where we rank here. And some people may say we're nuts by the end of this, but that's going to weigh a lot where we rank. So Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and Burrow are the top 4. Can't even argue with that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Then we have.
I would put Burrow above Lamar, by the way. That's
in whatever order you want to do them. Yeah, I would probably put that Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar.
Yes.
If we had to.
Same.
If we had to do it that
Same.
way. After that, so we have to, from the next 11, Aaron Rodgers, Stroud, Lawrence, Herbert, Prescott, Hurts, Goff, Love, Stafford, and Purdy. So we have to figure out between those 11 guys where he's going to be. It's still Aaron Rodgers. I have a really hard time saying he didn't play last year.
Yeah.
He had a broken thumb the year before. He was the MVP the year before that. I know it's been a bit. I just have a really hard time ranking people ahead of Aaron Rodgers until we see otherwise.
Sure.
I don't know if people think that's fair. I don't know if they think that's unfair.
No, I think that's totally fair. Okay. I mean, he's earned it on the field. Let's be perfectly honest.
Okay. Stroud.
I love CJ Stroud. Again, it's just been 1 year. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to, as much as we shit on Dak Prescott, as much as we shit on, well, I don't think we shit on Justin Herbert, but I think we had, some question marks. I just don't think that you can. I know Justin Herbert hasn't won a playoff game and CJ Stroud has, so I understand that. But again, it's just been 1 year. I anticipate a very, very good year. I think Houston is a dark horse. I think Houston's a dark horse Super Bowl candidate in the AFC, like legitimately.
I agree
feel
with
that
you.
way.
I agree with
you. I respect the hell out of CJ Stroud, but again, if we're just talking about our rankings, right now, I can't have him higher than guys that have done it, year over year over year. And that's so fair. To me, like, but I would still put him over Lawrence, right? I would still put him over. Give me our elite.
We only have to rank the Purdy. So if we're going to put him behind Purdy, we don't have to worry about where he's going to be. It's tough, right? Because I think
it is tough.
A better quarterback than Purdy.
I think he is. I think I would rank him. I would rank him above Purdy, regardless of the fact that Purdy's been to 2 conference championship games, just because the talent level is there's a significant disparity there in my eyes.
So all right, so we have Purdy right now. Purdy would be 7. Jared Goff. I do not think.
No, I'm ranking Purdy above Jared Goff.
Agree. Trevor Lawrence.
I'm ranking Purdy above Trevor Lawrence.
Agree, and I am too. Not again, Trevor Lawrence. I know what his ceiling is. Purdy has accomplished way more than Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
Now you can say, well, Purdy accomplished a lot more than CJ Stroud too. Okay, I got that. But Stroud won a playoff game in his first year. He put a team on his back in a lot of ways in the first year, a team that wasn't supposed to win. Stroud showed that he could be like a get on my back type QB, which is why to me
Lawrence hasn't.
He's up there. He has not shown that yet.
No.
All right, so Lawrence, we're not putting out Purdy. Jordan Love, a half a season does not. Again, Purdy was a top 4 MVP finish. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to 2 NFC championship games. I cannot put Jordan Love ahead of him.
Agreed.
Okay. Prescott.
I hate doing it, but I'm going to, just because again, he's done it for longer. He has won some playoff games. He's lost some playoff games. In fact, he's lost 2 playoff games against the 49ers. One against Brock Purdy and one against Jimmy Garoppolo. Or is it 2 against Brock Purdy? No, that's right, because they lost to the Packers. I'm talking about last year. I forgot they lost to the Packers. They didn't make it out of the divisional round. Or I mean the wild card round. But again, I think just a consistent level of play for a number of years now, I think puts him above Purdy for now.
I have a hard time with that because of what I've seen from him in the playoffs and in some big games, and because Dallas doesn't beat good teams. And when they played against each other,
Purdy kicked the shit out of him. Yeah.
Well, I thought Purdy
not in the playoffs.
I thought Purdy outplayed him.
Yeah.
Purdy shit out of him. But then in the playoffs, I thought he outplayed him in some.
Yeah,
and Purdy wasn't perfect in that game either. But I thought he made some clutch throws where Dak didn't.
Right.
I would put him ahead of Dak. But we can have 2 separate rankings here too. Let's see where we are. But I gotta cross him out. Hurts. Oh, again, because 2 years ago I'd have said Hurts. Now I don't know. Now I don't know.
It's hard. Again, head to head, they've been head to head once, and again, the 49ers absolutely stomped a mud hole in the Eagles, and Hurts looked pretty terrible, and Purdy looked pretty great, but also, you know, some of those plays were more on like Debo than they were on Purdy. So, you know, it's hard, but both of them have been to a Super Bowl. Both of them lost to the Chiefs. Hurts had a more impressive performance in the Super Bowl, but Purdy in the 2 years that he's played hasn't looked anywhere near as bad as Hurts did last year. So to me, I would say I would rather have Brock Purdy than Jalen Hurts. And again, to me, it's more about who would I rather have on my team. And I think I'd rather have Brock Purdy from what he's shown me so far.
So we have 2 left. Start with Stafford. In a perfect world, healthy.
Yeah, I'd take Stafford.
It's hard not to take Stafford.
Yeah,
I agree with that. So I think I would go Stafford there.
Yeah,
and then Herbert again. All the things we just said about playoffs and stuff, and confident Herbert hasn't done any of it.
Yeah,
but if he was on the 49ers, you know what I mean. If
I would take her. Yeah, if the scenario was straight up Brock Purdy for Justin Herbert, I would make that trade.
Herbert,
I would make that trade.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have Purdy 10th. I have him probably 9th, which I think is fair. I think if you're in that 9 to maybe 11 range with him, I think that's fair. I think he's about a top 10 quarterback. I've never said he's elite, but he certainly isn't 17th. And he's only in his 2nd season. We're talking about a lot of these other guys. They're TBD. We don't know. Well, he's only played a year and a half, and he's already shown us some of this stuff.
Right.
So that's pretty impressive there. So all right, that's fair. So you have him 10, I have him 9, and
either way, top 10.
Right, and you could talk me if you want to talk me into 11 or 12, I guess. But you got to consider him a franchise playoff caliber in that tier, and he's certainly better than 17. So
yeah, he is definitely not. He is a top 15 quarterback easily. And then I think the argument becomes, is he top 10? And I think there are people, we just made the argument that he was. There obviously would be people that would make an argument that he isn't, but I don't think there's any world where he is less than 15.
Yeah, certainly a franchise level guy.
Yeah.
All right, before we get out of here, really sad news today.
Yes.
Great, maybe the best offensive lineman of all time. Larry Allen passed away. He played for the Niners for 2 years, all those great years with the Cowboys. Really sad, just prayers out to him and his family. Yeah,
I was telling you before we started recording, Larry Allen is the first offensive lineman that I was really aware of as a football fan. You know, when you're a kid, you don't really pay attention to things like offensive line. Like it's just, it doesn't, you know, it just doesn't really matter to you. But I remember Larry Allen because of the way that he would dominate games. And he was a Cowboy, which meant that I hated him. But then he came to the 49ers for the last 2 years of his career. And I just remember thinking, like, I can't believe we got this guy on our team. Like, this guy is just an absolute monster on the field. I remember Pro Bowl skills challenges where he's putting up ridiculous numbers on the bench press. I remember seeing a video of him recently putting 700 up on the bench press, which is just outrageous. And so, one of the strongest players in NFL history, for all intents and purposes, just a really good dude off the field, but an absolute, like I said, monster on the field. And just sad to lose him so early. He was 52 years old. So prayers out to his family. Passed away on vacation in Mexico with his family. That's got to be really tough.
It's brutal. It's brutal. Yeah. Prayers up to them. Just, one of the best to ever do it. So,
yep.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Please hit the subscribe button, whether it's you're listening on for a podcast or on YouTube or whatever it is. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Later.
9 3. 1 2 3.
.2400 Sports is an Odyssey company.